guys, welcome to the Not Sheep podcast. This is the guy who's going to be in prison soon, Dan. I'm Sean. I don't plan on murdering anybody, but I wouldn't mind freaking popping a cap in somebody's ass. So we're in the new warehouse. Gunner's running around. We got the crew here. And tell everybody what we just figured out about the warehouse, Dan.
We figured out we weren't sure where all the racks going. We don't know what we're doing. But that doesn't matter because we're going to figure things out. Yeah, we're already out of space. We
haven't even moved in yet.
Which is always the case. We're trying to figure out where we're going to put everything.
So we're in 7,000 square feet right now. We're first podcast from inside the new space. We're actually in the warehouse. We're not in the offices. And we just got done doing the math. I'm not the best in math, but I mean, you don't really need to be. You got to be able to read a tape measure and add, plus and minus in your bank account.
That's why I bring smart people in.
Yeah. And we're basically, with the shelving and racking that we have coming in, we're pretty much full already. Now we will have, we're at about 25,000 square feet. We're in almost 7 right now. We're at 25,000 square feet. But all the new racks are coming in and it's going to be freaking dope. So that's kind of what we wanted to talk about today just for a minute, is like scaling, growing, taking the freaking leap, building big shit. Because the reality is, like, the hard part is, like, and you know this from growing Tap Out and the whole thing, there's nothing here. And like, you go into it, it's scary, but then you're like, oh, wait a second, like, fuck, we're already gonna fill it up. You know what I mean?
Well, it's scary, and the great thing is that it's scary. I mean, when you think about coming into a space like this, your costs are quadrupling. The cost that it costs to even get in a place like this is expensive. The build outs that you have to do, we're having to build a conference room already and another office. We're putting in furniture, all the extras that you got to put in here, all the new racking that's got to come in here, all the new employees that it's going to take to fill this place. So all that's scary, but would you want to be doing anything else? Yeah. It's like I wouldn't want to be doing anything else. I want to do things that are scary. I mean, I think it's why you race, right?
Oh, dude.
How do you feel when you're racing? You're doing 200 miles an hour in your car down this.
Fucking wild. The thing that's crazy though is like, and you've done this, in business, and especially with Tap Out, and I talk a lot about this, like with Not Sheep, is like, that you can't expand unless you expand. Mm-hmm. Like, we've literally reached capacity in our warehouse where we are right now. Like, we physically couldn't grow anymore. We can't bring in more inventory. We can't bring in more product. We can't hire more people. We literally are trying to grow our ads and our marketing team, and we don't have room for more people. So like, the mindset is like, okay, well, when's the right time? And we got to make all these calculated decisions and shit. And the reality is, like, there comes a point in time where you physically can't expand anymore, which there won't be a possibility of us growing the business.
Yeah.
I think it's where a lot of people get is like, you reach this threshold and you have to take a big jump. I mean, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars for us to move in here.
Yeah.
Not just with the lease, but with the build out, with racks, with employees and offices and shit like that. But like, now we have like breathing room. Now we can hire more people. We can hire another 18, 20 people and put them in here and be comfortable, right? Well, what do those 18 to 20 people represent in revenue and scale?
Yeah, how can they help us grow?
But I feel like this is where a lot of people get stuck, is this point where we're at right now, which is like, oh, well, we want to have the buffer, or we want to have so much before we know we can move over. And it's like, until you move, it's the chicken and the egg, the cart and the horse, whatever the fuck you want to call it. The t-shirt in the warehouse, like the whole thing, like, unless you move, you can't expand.
No, you can't go. Isn't there a fish that, like, as long as he's in a bowl that is whatever, the goldfish,
like shark.
The goldfish, when you put him in a bowl that he's this big, I read it somewhere.
But,
look, you put the goldfish in a small bowl and he's only going to get so big, but you put him in a large aquarium and then all of a sudden your goldfish is, this big, and you put him in a pool and he's this big. That's the same mentality that you have in business, and that it's a lot of it's just mindset. It's not, it's true, you have no place to put your pallets, or I just moved into a broom closet because we had to put 2 people in my office because we need that space. And I'm like, hey, I'm here to win. Yeah. So if you need my office, take my office. I'll operate out of the warehouse if I have to.
Yeah, that's how I am.
And so I'm in this, what was a broom closet for a second, and I'm working out of there, but that's okay. But I know that there, at some point it's a mental game that, like, if you don't think you can grow, you won't. You won't order that extra product that you need because you're like, we don't really have room in the warehouse. Just mentally you're thinking, oh, we don't even have room to grow. Why should we?
Yeah.
And I don't know where those mental, there's just mental blockers that come into play when you're in a space like that.
Yeah.
And when you're in a space like this, the opposite applies, because you start going, I need to build this business to grow into this space. We need to, all those pallets should be full. All this area should be full. What should we put here? What should we do there? All that stuff becomes growth mindset.
Yeah. Well, dude, and the thing is like, if you think about it from the context of jumping, right? Like, I've never put a goldfish in a pool. I think the goldfish might die if you put it in a pool.
Well,
but I understand what you're saying. We should try it, but it would probably die. When you jump, you've jumped how many times in business? How many times have I jumped? I've always built the wings. You've always built the wings. And probably everybody listening to this, like, you're still alive. You still have food to eat. You still got, like, money for gas to put in your car and shit like that. Like, you always seem to win. Like, you always seem to, and it might be like a turbulent ride on the way down or whatever, but like, every single jump that you've made, that I've made, that you made up to this point, they've had the school of hard knocks and this one and this one and this one. But the reality is, like, you always end up building your wings. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I get really accustomed to, and it's just like anything else. You work out enough, you get comfortable working out. You know what I mean? You do something long enough, you race, you get better at racing, more comfortable in the race car. You get more comfortable expanding and jumping and taking risks, but like, the literal bets on yourself. Stuff like this is easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, getting into this space, it was easy. We need it. We got to grow. Boom, let's go. How much is it? Great, let's take it.
You become an adrenaline junkie.
Sign the
deal.
deal.
I love risk now.
Yeah.
Now I don't feel alive unless I'm at risk.
Totally.
And and that's why I keep going back to the race car, because I think, I would put myself in, I've driven 200 miles an hour, but not next to four other cars that are, not legally, but not next to, four other cars trying to take my space. And, that's, and turns and all kinds of things going on.
That's why racing's helped me. I've talked about this quite a bit. Like, racing has helped me in business. It's helped my relationship. It's helped me personally a lot because it's so fucking hard, number one. But number two, it's like, it's the exact opposite of how I'm programmed. Like, I'm the big picture, paint with broad strokes. Like, I'm not like the finite details. You give me a spreadsheet, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like trying to format an Excel spreadsheet and do columns and rows, I'm like, I don't even know how to fucking do that. Pay somebody to do that, right? Yeah. I'm 43 years old and I should know how to do that. I have no clue how to do that. But like, the racing is so fucking finite. Like, you're trying to hit an exact mark, an exact spot at 140 miles an hour, 20 straight laps in a row, with people around you, with weather, with rain, with whatever. Like, you have to become so in tune with, like, the finite details that for someone like me, it's either maddening and you're gonna slam into a wall, or you have to adapt. You have to fucking figure it out. Where it's the same analogy here. It's the same process here. Like, what are the finite things that you need to do to scale and to grow? What are the finite things that we have to do to get our ads team working, or our marketing working, or this thing working, that thing working? And it's like, it's the same all the way across the board. Same thing in a relationship. What are the little things that I'm not listening to that she keeps telling me, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. The same thing with your fitness, what am I doing? Where am I tracking my progress? Am I tracking my food? Am I all of these other things? Like being able to focus on things that you're not good at, number one, is obviously a huge aspect of progression, but being able to, like, adapt to shit that you're not comfortable in. Like, racing is very uncomfortable. It's fucking hard.
Yeah, I bet.
It's terrifying. It's scary. But the same thing here. Like, when I first walked through here, you and I walked through here, it was like, fuck, this is huge. What are we gonna do with all the space? And literally in a matter of an hour, the shelving guys leaves and we're like, fuck. We need another 20,000 square feet. Like, fuck, we're out of room. Like, what are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? But there's no, like, oh man, how are we gonna do this? Like, how is it gonna happen? I just feel like you and I probably have a lot more experience in jumping and taking risks than a lot of other people. And if I could give anybody a word of advice, it's sign the big lease, man. Like, go do the deal. Like,
You'll live up to it.
You will do it. You will grow into that. But it's that same, like, philosophy. Like, I talk about pouring water into a cup. You can pour harder and you can shoot a fire hose into a cup and you can try and jam more water in, but you'll never get more until you get a bigger cup.
Yep.
The same thing with the fish, right? Little bowl, big bowl, like big pool, like until you expand the actual receptacle, you're not going to fit more water in there. And I think that's the thing that a lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people are missing is like, we talk a lot about with Lions on Sheep, like who do I have to become?
Right.
The conversation of who do I have to become? Who do I have to become to run a $100 million apparel company, $200 million apparel company? Because it's not the same dude who's running a $10 million apparel company. Who do I have to become to be a world-class husband and dad versus, you know, there half the time or a quarter of the time or whatever. Who do I have to become? You build that, and then it just becomes easier to freaking pour more water in there, get a bigger fish, get a bigger warehouse, hire more people, scale and grow, get more inventory, you know?
Yeah. My first warehouse for Tap Out, our first big warehouse, we had smaller, little tiny, we rented a shop at one time. It was my one of my bedrooms at one time. But the first time we got like a big warehouse, not this, even close to this big, but I didn't even have the money for the rent. I was like, there's no way I can pay this lease, but I know we need the space because I can feel what's growing right now, and I know we need to grow into this space. So I remember calling the guy that was leasing the building, and I said, look, I know what you're asking, which was this, and I can't pay that, but I can pay this, but I'm willing to pay more at the end if you'll start me lower now. So I'll sign a lease for 3 years or it was 5 years, and I'll sign it for, you know, here for the first year, here for the second year. By the third year, I'm in exactly where you wanted me to pay, and now I'm paying more on the back end to help catch us up. If you believe in me, and I kind of showed him our business model and what we were doing, and nobody believed in us at that time, so it was so surprising that he actually did. But he did it, and he signed us that building. I never thought in a million years we'd have a building this big. And I walked in the same way, like, what are we gonna do with all this space? And
you probably
overnight,
ran out of space.
we filled it. Oh, man. Probably 6 months later, the Ultimate Fighter finale came, and next thing I know, we took the space next to us, and then the space next to that building too, just because it happened to be open at the time, and that whole thing grew us out of control.
Dude, when you believe in yourself, I mean, look, this isn't, real talk, this isn't rah, hippy-dippy bullshit. Like, when you have, like, fierce, ruthless conviction to who you are and what you are and where you're going, you'll never fucking lose. I fully believe that. I believe that, like, 150%. Like, if you are, like, savagely driven in your dream and where you're going, and I'm not talking about some pie-in-the-sky bullshit, but, like, if you believe in it as much as you believe in fucking breathing, you can't fail. It's impossible for you to fail. No. You might fuck up along the way, and this path might be a little bit faster than this path, but the common trait that I see, guys like you, guys like me, who build brands, who build companies, who scale and grow, is there is no, this isn't gonna work. There is no, well, what ifs? It's like, no, we're gonna fucking do this, and you don't not do it, you figure out how to do it. And that's the thing that I keep looking at. Like, you know, we've talked about the big banners that we've got, 100,000, right? We launched the black box, and it's like, it's slow going, and all of a sudden we're figuring some things out, we're making some tweaks, we're making some changes, but it's like, I would literally bet you my life that we will hit 100,000 subscribers of the black box. Like, I'll put my life on it.
Yeah,
I've already seen it. Like, I already know it. I know the numbers. I know exactly what it looks like, smells like, feels like. The exact. I've seen it. Like, it's as real as like this fucking camera right in front of me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But there's no option to not do it.
No. And every time we have a meeting, when we talk about that, we're always talking in those frameworks. Right. You know, we're always like, there's no way we're not going to get there. Right. We may not know the exact blueprint every time, and the blueprints change. Yeah. Like, I mean, how many times has it changed since we started this?
That's the crazy thing is it has. But that's the cool part is it's like when you set that vision and you become like ruthlessly committed to it, you can't not win. You know what I'm saying? Like, the people we're talking to, the people we bring in, the things that we're doing with the box, like, you know, the box didn't even exist. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Lions on Sheep Black Box, go to our website, check it out. It's fucking dope as shit. If you're not subscribed, what the fuck are you waiting for? Like, it's ridiculous, right?
We're making it better every day.
The guys will put a link like right here, or you just go to lionsonsheep.com. It's right there, right? Little plug for the black box. But the reality is, like, it didn't even exist 8 months ago. Like, that's what's cool about it for me is, we get the big target and the number and the whole thing, but it's like to even bring it to fruition, to see it actually mailing, to like go from nothing to a custom box, to a custom experience, to this user experience. It's like, I mean, literally thousands of people talk about it every single month. When they get it, it's like, that didn't even exist. Step number one, like bring that shit to life. Fuck it up along the way. How many boxes are floating around the office? There's probably 500 mock-up boxes and boxes that didn't work, different and styles, boxes that we scrapped.
Products that didn't work.
Shit that didn't work. I mean, we went through so many versions of the foam to get the foam to put our collector's card in, right? And it was like, what about this and what about this? And we're gonna glue it to the top, and then we'll put this in here, and then we'll put a sleeve in. For weeks and weeks and weeks, we went through like every single version of everything you could imagine. So to now see it shipping, it's like, that jump in and of itself, like this is where I think most people get hung up. It's like, everybody would love to be in the big warehouse, but just fucking starting, having a box that like, you have version 1 and then version 2 and then version 3. I mean, your t-shirts from day 1 were probably not even close to the same t-shirts they were at the, at the end. Like the quality, the cut, the whole deal,
First t-shirts were horrible.
Like they were like a Hanes beefy tee.
Well, it wasn't just the t-shirt.
Like 100%
but that was good.
Shit.
That was good at the time. At that time, a beefy tee, you got the good stuff?
Yeah.
That was a good tee.
You get it at Walmart
But it was the drawings, the artwork was so horrible. I mean, at the beginning, we just found friends that were artists.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was, sometimes it's your belief, but it's not just, like I wasn't at the beginning, I through wins I become confident, but at the beginning I don't think I had believed, it wasn't my belief in me, it was my belief that we had the best idea and that it was a great idea and this is why it was gonna work, and I believed in that so much that nothing was gonna stop me from making that happen. And sometimes it doesn't always have to be, because I think there's a lot of people out there who, because you haven't had those wins to piggyback your strength on yet, you're still at that place where you just have a great idea and you know it in the heart of hearts that it's a great idea, that everybody's told you. Like people tell us all the time, man, that line's not sheep, man. I see it everywhere. I love that stuff. It's like, why do people stop you everywhere you go? You start to believe so hard in what's going on here that there's no way that we're going to fail.
Right.
We're going to make that work. Now, whether, I mean, sometimes we get up, maybe we don't have the strength to do that one day. One day it was kind of like, man, I'm having an off day, I'm having a bad day, like I got things that are going wrong here, there, and I'm not feeling as strong as I normally do. But when I look back at this, I go like, but this is not gonna fail. And if I can stand behind this, my shield or my power or my whatever it is, my weapon, this every day is gonna work.
Dude, and that's the thing, like, when you build a team around it. Somebody asked me this, I spoke at a mastermind yesterday for my buddy, and he brings in all these like really high.
I want to go to your mastermind.
I got invited to go speak at the thing.
I want to go watch.
They were a bunch of MLMers. They're like multi-level marketers. You wouldn't have dug it. But they're all like 7-figure earners, right? So these are like upper echelon, cool. 7-figure people, right?
I can
Don't
appreciate.
Don't be sad about it.
I know, I can appreciate. I want to hear you speak.
I'll bring you next time. The fuck was I talking about?
You were speaking in front of them.
Oh yeah. So this dude was talking about a brand, and he was talking about like how to build a brand. And I explained to him, I'm like, I get asked that question all the time about how do I start a t-shirt company, or I want to start my deal, or I want to build what you built, kind of a deal. And the first thing I always tell people is don't, right? Because you don't make a lot of money in apparel until you really start to scale and grow, and you know this. But I told the dude, I'm like, look, man, like I am Lions Not Sheep. And like my end goal with Lions Not Sheep is that you say that, and you say that, and you say that, and that you embody that, right? Like you're like, I am Lions Not Sheep. My goal is that millions and millions and millions of people are wearing the gear, part of the tribe, and they have no clue who I am. But like, I share that simply because I told this dude, like, I embody the brand. I embody the company. Like, I am that deal.
The brand is you.
There's a lot of people that I think segregate the two, and it's like, well, I'm going to be the Johnny guy over here, but then I'm going to be the badass with the brand and the whole thing. You can't do that.
Yeah.
It's like you have tap out fucking, tattooed on the back of your neck.
Yeah.
I literally have Freeman, one of my favorite shirt, like tattooed on my fucking chest.
Yeah.
Like we tattooed our visions, our brands, our life onto us, right? And I think that's a very valuable lesson for a lot of people, not only in business, but people that are trying to build a brand, trying to build a clothing company, trying to build, something. Is like, you have to eat it, live it, breathe it, sleep it. You must be it. And when I say I am Lions Not Sheep, it's not like I am the whole company and I am everything. Like, what is Lions Not Sheep? I am that.
It's you.
And when people start to really understand that and they really get like, I have to be the brand, I have to walk the brand, talk the brand, there's no like turning it on and then turning it off.
Yeah.
Like I go be, you know, Captain Badass during the day and then I'm soy boy at home. It doesn't work like that. You're either on or you're not, right? And it won't ever work that way. And that's where, like, when you talk about, when you look at it, like I look at it and it won't fail because I won't let it fail. And I know that we've built a culture and a tribe of people that think the same way, where it's like, failing is not even it's not even a conversation. It's not even an option. It's like, where do we pivot? Where do we go? Oh, this isn't working? Great. What's the next chapter? What's the next move? What's the next door? Not like, well, fuck, man. You know, nobody likes our shit. We better pack it up and go home. It's like, no, what's the next deployment? What's the next avenue? What's the next marketing strategy? You know what I'm saying?
And I want this to mean, and I don't know about you, like, because what's great is I think Lions Not Sheep means something different to everybody. But I want this to mean, like, we want everybody to win. That's what's great. And I think that's why you became a coach, you know, like helping other people, because you want everybody to win. And I think this is, I want this to help everybody win. Yeah. I want people to look at this when they're having a bad day. You know, maybe they got a, you know, skateboard company or a water company or whatever it is they're building at that time. And I want them to be wearing our hat or our shirt and thinking, this is like my armor. Dude, you know, this is what's going to help me win.
I get messages like that all the time from people like, well, I feel like I'm putting on armor. And I get that, because that's how I was when I first friggin' started.
Yeah.
Like when I made the very first t-shirt, I made it for me. I didn't make it to sell. There was no company. It wasn't even incorporated.
Right.
Lions Not Sheep didn't even exist. It was like, this
for like
became
3 years, right?
Right. Like Lions Not Sheep, the 3 words was literally my personal mantra that I told myself over and over and over again every single day. And it became who I am. It became what I am. When I made that first t-shirt, it wasn't for anybody else. It was just for me. It was for me to just wear and vibe, but to literally have like that armor on.
Yeah.
But like when you really start to embody something, and this not just with Lions Not Sheep, but any brand, any company, any vision that you have, like when you become so, a lot of people think the word obsessed is a bad word, right? I think obsessed is a great word. You have to become a fucking obsessed. You have to become obsessed with winning. You have to become obsessed with growing. You have to become obsessed with scaling. Like, I literally have seen this brand across the fucking planet. I've seen it on billboards. I've seen it in football stadiums, in baseball stadiums. I've seen it in frickin' Yankee Stadium against the wall in the back. Like, I've seen it. Like, I'm obsessed with growing it and pushing it and scaling it. And it's like, when you can become that person, when you can become obsessed with becoming a good man, a good woman, a good husband, a good father, a good mother, like a good business leader, whatever, like you do everything possible to become better. And I think that's the difference between a winner and a loser. I think that's the difference between a winner and a quitter. You know, a lot of people fucking get kicked in the dick and they quit. They didn't sell out at the one trade show or the one thing, or their post didn't go viral and it's like, oh, I'm gonna fucking quit. But that dude is obsessed with like delivering value over and over and over again. Will always win. You will always fucking win. When you become obsessed and you live that obsession, you'll always fucking win.
And I can attest you're obsessed.
It might be in a month, it might be in 6 months, but it's like that like meme that you always see, like the dude who's digging for the diamond and he quits right here and he's like, you can't tell, he's only 3 feet, and then he fucking walks off, where the dude who just keeps going and go, boom, he hits the fucking jackpot. It is that way.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, like with 100,000, like when and for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, when we launched the black box, I threw that number on the board, on the whiteboard, and I was like, I want to have 100,000 subscribers. And a lot of people don't know this, but at 100,000 subscribers, it would value the company just over $1 billion. We'd become $1 billion apparel brand.
Right.
So when you hear me talking about, 100,000 and $1 billion, like you guys will know, when we hit 100,000, we'll have $1 billion apparel brand, $1 billion fucking company. And that to me is like, I'm obsessed with what do we have to do to hit that number. Yeah. Like, that's really the only goal that we've got. It's really the only, we want to keep delivering value and good products and good service and, and great marketing and stuff like that. But like, we are ruthlessly focused on hitting 100,000.
Yeah.
Because once you hit that, then that's kind of the J curve too, where it's like, then it just fucking shoots up.
I can attest you're obsessed, because that every time you're in a meeting, you're throwing those same terms out and saying those same things. And it's actually the only reason, it's the reason I wanted to like I knew we would be a good fit because that's what I need in my life. Like my partner, unfortunately, was killed. He was obsessed. We were obsessed together. And I think to win, sometimes you need more than one person that's obsessed.
Totally.
You know, it's like you're gonna have bad days. I have bad days. You know, I know he had bad days, and the days that he was down, I was up. The days, you know, I'm down, you're up. And I feed from that. You know, if I come in, I'm like, oh man, got this to do, that to do, and you like come in 100,000, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, okay, let's do this. Let's go kill people.
You have to do. Go back to killing people. Gunner, go kill somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, look, it works. It's real. I think a lot of people think that there's a fucking magic pill, there's a magic course, we got lucky, it's in our DNA, there's something fucking weird, and I will say 100 out of 100 times, like, I'm more obsessed than most people. I'm more fucking committed than most people. A lot of people talk commitment. It's the aspect of being committed and doing, and this is commitment. Like, there's literally nothing in this fucking warehouse other than us sitting here right now, and the dog, and a skateboard, and I brought a trailer in here. That's it. There ain't shit in here. And like, the clock is running. The bills are coming. Like, the growth is happening. The expansion is happening. But it's already like, we're already out of space. We're already like, okay, shelves. We need, what do we, just get the big ones. Get the fucking big ones. We're not getting the little shelves. We're not getting like the scale up shelves. Fucking fill the place up. Go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you become that obsessed about whatever it is you're doing. You know, whether it's fitness, whether it's relationships, whether it's, scaling, whether it's business, whether it's being an athlete, a parent, a husband, a wife, whatever it is, you can't not win. It's a scientific fact that at some point in time, you're gonna hit that diamond, you're gonna hit that gold, we will hit that 100,000. It might be 6 months later than we thought, 9 months later than we thought, but when we hit it, it'll be like, spike the fucking ball, be like, I told you motherfuckers we were gonna do this. And the entire process along the way was like, just going.
And I've heard you say this too. You can only quit, or you can only fail if you quit.
That's it.
And that's so true. I mean, I think I was in one of your, and I'd heard it before, but the way you said it, and I can't even remember exactly the words you used, but it was just, it hit home because it's so true that the reason people fail is they quit. They quit because you'll always be 3 feet from gold. There's things that probably shouldn't work. Tap out shouldn't have worked. There's things that shouldn't work, but they work because you force that thing through. You know, it's like, oh, I'm gonna make this thing fit. No matter what I do, I'm gonna make this work because it needs to work, because it needs to work for my family, it needs to work because I have to, because I spend everything I own. I've sold everything I own to make this work. So I'm gonna make this thing work. And there's probably a lot of things out there. I just read the PayPal story, it's really good.
Oh yeah, I was just about to, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's just a great, it's so weird that how serendipitous. I told you today, I spoke to one of Teal's people. And I was just thinking, wow, that's so weird. I just finished his story yesterday, and then somebody reaches out to me, and we start talking, and it's so crazy that there's that circle there. And I think when you put yourself in those positions, and you're always working towards that, somehow universe and God put those things in your way.
Yeah, you have to put yourself in the line to get hit by the fucking truck. You gotta do it. You gotta stand in the middle of the road and be like, all right, let's do this deal, It's the same thing, like I was literally, as you were talking about PayPal, you look at Steve Jobs. I mean, when Steve Jobs proposed, and his biography is a brilliant book, when he proposed the iPod, the original iPod, and this is when Discman and the Walkman, the freaking Sony was like blowing the fuck up. They owned the space, and he's like, no, we're gonna put 1,000 songs on this piece of plastic in your pocket. And everybody's like, you're fucking mad. There's no way it'll work. Like literally his own people, his own board. And he was like, I'm going to fucking do this. Like, this is what the market wants. This is what people want. Fast forward to today, and it's like, oh, Apple's lucky and this. No. Like when everybody said this will never work, he was like, fuck you, kick you in the face. Like, I'm gonna make this shit happen. And it worked, and it became literally a phenomenon, a global phenomenon. He rewrote communication, he rewrote everything.
Changed the world.
Changed the entire fucking world. And you look at the same thing here, where it's like, whether it's your apparel brand or your restaurant or your food cart or your ideas or your art or whatever it is, it's like, oh, well, that's not cool, that's not cool, that's not cool. I talked to my friend Scott the other day, Scott Travis, our artist, and I'm like, why don't you sell some of your art for like $500,000? Like, you should have pieces that are like $500,000. Mm-hmm. And it was almost like I was speaking Greek, because he's like, he couldn't wrap his head around it. Mm-hmm. And after this hour-long conversation, eventually he's like, yeah, like, why wouldn't I? I mean, there's art that's sold for millions and millions and millions of dollars. What's separating you from that $500,000 piece? Now, 99.9% of human beings would be like, well, I'd never pay that, I'd never pay that. I'm not talking to 99% of human beings. Because those people that go to the galleries that buy the Picassos and the Salvador Dalis and the shit like that,
$400 million.
They'll write a $20 million check and not even blink. I'm like, well, the reality is, Scott, if you want to sell art for $500,000, you just got to talk to different people. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so that evolution of like, well, I'm starting at this point, and then I'm going to go to here, and then I'm going to go here. Like, the only thing limiting you from the growth, you from this, you from being in shape, whatever it is you. Mm-hmm. It's literally just you. It's just your mindset. Yeah. It's 150% your mindset. Like, when you come in here, when I first walked in here, I said it before, like, I was like, fuck, this is way big, whatever. It's almost too much. And then it was like, well, no, now we're literally talking about it's not enough.
Right.
And it's all mindset. It's mindset. It's 100% mindset that's going to get us to 100,000. Mindset and then action. Mm-hmm. Mindset and then action. Mindset of, I want to get in shape. Mindset, I want to make more money. Mindset, I want to go become a race car driver. Whatever the fuck it is, and then the action behind it. But anyways, God bless America.
That was a great lesson.
Great lesson. Any other lessons you got about
No,
goldfish?
that was perfect. Can't wait to get in this place.
All right.
Lots of great stuff coming.
Yeah, guys, we appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Leave us a comment below. Hit us up with what we should talk about, people we should talk to. Cool people, not cool. Well, we don't want any not cool people.
We have a lot of great people coming.
We've got a lot of great people we're going to start talking to on the show and show or podcast or whatever the fuck we're going to call this. And then literally within a matter of a few weeks here, we'll probably do another podcast.
We got to do a walkthrough when this thing's all set up.
It'll be fucking full. And it'll be great. All right, guys. Appreciate you.
New design, new accord.